All right, you are at a parking lot. It's nice and dry. Everything is beautiful. This happens to be a Penske lot. We're gonna do an engine inspection. Something you should do all the time when you have the time. So first of all, for the purpose of the video, I already opened this. These open up on both sides, and then do not, and I repeat, do not put your foot in here and then try to pull this up this way. This radar right here is a $2,000 option. You're kicking this away. If you want to avoid it, you're going to put it here. You're going to have the hood crush into you. So what you do is you come to the side, you grab it right here on the bottom, and then you lift. One hand. Okay? Now, that shock right there will actually help you lift the whole thing. So, here we are. Now let's point some things out. Let me take the glove off. Alrighty, so we have our basic steering box. The steering box right here should be greased as it is. They should not be greased popping out of here because this is where it leaks. This right here should be also greased. This right here should be greased. This should not be covered in grease, but it should be greased. In here, this follows through on the whole steering shaft. Also greased right here. Also greased on top. Let me put the glove back on. What should happen is you should move this, and it should move a little bit, and you feel a little play. As you can see, this is not knocking, it just has a little basic play, which is perfectly fine. That's the joints moving in here. In here, we're looking at the hoses. This clamp right there, obviously, should be tightened and nothing coming out of it, right? Then we're coming over here, we're looking at all sorts of fittings. So fitting. You're looking for something wet, something happening. From oil sometimes, this just drips down. You should wipe it up, see what happens to it next. Stuff like this will actually rub over the time and it will eat through. Now this right here is a power steering fluid. This reservoir should be clean so you can see the minimum and the maximum. The cap on top should not be leaking. Looking in here, when we check the oil, make sure that all of this is closed. As you can see, it has a little arrows for you to close and open. So it's completely closed, nothing's coming out of it. The fuel water separator, as you can see in there, you can visually check on this all the time. Right now it's completely empty, it was just changed out, so there is no water in here. Everything's fine. These hoses right here with the clips, I mean, not my favorite things, but they do not seem to be leaking at all. And I never really had problems with them. These hoses, they're actually tubes, they're plastic. So on winter, it's kind of brittle, so try not to touch them too much. Check on the actual filters. This filter right here, obviously not leaking. You're looking back there, we're not having any leaks back there. The shocks, very important part. These shocks are completely dry, and in here we're seeing there is no oil coming out of it. You're really going to have a shitty ride when you're going to start leaking. On here, another thing I wanted to point out is these are all electrical connections. These can and will become green over time because of a shitty connection, and then eventually what's going to happen is you're going to lose some functions of a truck. Once I lost heat in the middle of winter because these were corroded and it was a rental and it was a horrible time. This pipe right here, this is actually a drainage from the from ice and water, whatever, comes down here and it drains right down. Now what happens is this gets loose like this, and then as you're driving you will hear it bouncing. There used to be, you can see, it used to be a clamp of some sort that was holding it together, and that was not making a noise. I actually do hear it sometimes when you have high winds. This piece here actually should be rubber and it should be greased up because it comes in into the, you can see it right there, it comes in into the actual hood, and that's what rubs the hood back and forth, and then if it's all greased and perfect you don't get that noise. These here, the intercooler pipes, the way they work, they're actually spring loaded. So what happens is during the operation, these right here move. So when this, you should be able to do this and nothing should be moving. There should be no cracks, there should be nothing. These right here are pre-made. We actually replace this whole pipe right away. So this clamp, same thing, should be all good. Looking at here in the fan, very important. You grab the fan blade and you actually try to move it. See, it barely moves. That's exactly how it should be. Because if it starts knocking, then the bearing on the fan will actually break and eventually break the whole entire fan. This here, same thing. No oil. This is dry, and everything is beautiful. We're looking at our tank. The tank is full. We're not leaking. This thing is not leaking. None of these require service. Everything is great. Something even stupid like this, you would think nothing matters about it. This rubber does wear down, all of a sudden, your whole fan shroud might be moving. Not a good solution to have it keep loose. This right here, same thing. I don't know what this. Oh, it's dirt. Sometimes there's pinholes or some crap in there. Moving around. Do you need to do this all the time? No, but you do it once, and then you can, keep checking on it. Another thing I wanted to point out is this turbo system. These are here. These are connections essentially. So these connections, they hold this together and they rust together and pretty solid. But sometimes you will see this turning black. That's blow by coming out. That means that the exhaust gas is essentially coming here and they're coming right into your cab and you're breathing all the crap. You're losing power and all that too, but once you're breathing, it's not really a good health risk, and it's not really a good situation when you're coming home and you're poisoning carbon monoxide essentially. So right here, looking back at all this, we have in the coolant bottle, cold max, cold min, should be between this. It's self-explanatory. You do have to manage it because sometimes what happened to me is the truck stopped in the middle of a road when I'm going 60 miles an hour. Specifically, it was actually that one, the Freightliner version. And the coolant was low. Essentially, it just came down a little bit lower than this because I was going down the hill. And the sensor was bare, and all of a sudden, it stopped. It was a pretty bad situation. This right here, again, we're looking at these hoses are all mounted. They're not rattling. Everything is good. On the speaking of hoses and mountings, this right here is our light. Right here we have one wire. This wire should be secured and should be secured here. These clips, they fall off and nobody puts them back on, whatever, and they start bouncing here. Then this clip right here breaks off right at these wires, and all of a sudden your light's not working. The bulb are here, the wires are here, everything is great, but you can't replace these. So what do? And you cut back here, you try to piggyback this in a different, it's a pain. You do not want to do any of this. Now looking back in here, we're looking at the starter. The starter is in the bottom. This is the alternator. The alternator here is seems to be okay. The belt on it, you want to check the belt and you want to press up against it. That's all the play you should have, because once you have a loose belt, the whole thing is going to be a problem too. In here we're looking at anything, nothing specific. The one thing we should look out for, these U-bolts right here. These U-bolts are tightened, and then what happens is once they get loose, because I mean this is a frame going up and down, I mean the whole entire axle, at times could be 40,000 pounds because of going downhill or whatever's happening. These will get stretched and this will start to move. Once they start to move, see how they're black, you will see a white wear on them essentially. So that's something that needs to be visually inspected all the time. Now looking on top right here, I wanted to show you another thing is when the air filter is sucking in air, it's actually sucking it from the hood, and it's that entire ring should be perfectly in here. You can see where this is actually wearing down. Sometimes what happens is that right there you put down incorrectly and it will fold over, and in here you'll see this is fold over, and then it sucks in a lot of the dirt into the filter, and then your engine doesn't move, and then here you are climbing up a hill at 10 miles an hour because the whole thing was just choked because of the filter, and then you got to replace the filter and everything else. All of this could be replaced and really easily fixed if you just move this rubber piece, and you'll be good with it. Also, another thing you should watch out for is how this hood is laying on the actual truck. So right here you can see this is from these rubbers, which is pretty good. It's not letting the dirt in. And on top you can see right there, all of that is where it's touching the actual top, which is here. So eventually this does wear down and it does start to knock. All could be replaced, but something could be visually checked really easily. This shock itself is a pretty important piece, because when you open up the hood, it helps you open it up, and when you put it down, it helps you actually to foot it down so it doesn't, you know, jam the whole entire system. Here, another thing you gotta look out for is the hood separating right there up front. It doesn't seem to be. The netting is in one piece. Those right there, you see those bolts, that's for the front mirrors. I mean, the mirror is not loose, everything is great, but if you see them cracking, it's easier to fix one bolt than to replace the whole entire mirror. In here you can see stuff like this is the HID headlights. You can see that they're, you know, all in one piece. Not the greatest design, but you see them kind of tearing away. This truck is about 5 years old at this point. This here, you can see that something is rubbing against something. Seems to be a light. Is it a problem? No, but when you see stuff like this, then you can definitely chase it down to where it's happening. Then while you're at it, you can see if there's any cracks or if these holes are closed with debris or something. Maybe a good time to clean this out and do a little bit general overlook under the hood. Another very important thing is the bumper itself. So the bumper, as you can see, somebody already hit it. Give it a kick. You see, none of this is moving. See me kicking? None of it is moving. Nothing is happening. It's a tight bumper. It's going to stay on that way. Now you come to the other side. Somebody hit it a little harder. This whole thing actually fell off. And what happened is the inside right here was busted. So now the inside was replaced. Again, giving it a kick. As you can see, it's a little looser, but you can see the bumper is all in one piece. The plastics are hanging on. This is pretty solid. You know, it's not going to fall off down the road. Don't forget, you're hitting it at 60, 65 miles an hour. Wind is pushing up against it. Sometimes there's snow, sometimes there's sleet, even rain. I mean, this thing goes back and forth. There's a lot of pressure putting on it. So this is a general overlook. Do you have to be an expert in this whole thing? Not really, but you're looking for obvious leaks. In here, this is where your fuel is supplied. These nozzles are here. Sometimes you will see that that's actually leaking out of there. It happens a lot actually in these models, because sometimes they have a Detroit engine in them, but it's not something that's uncommon, but it should be looked at. It maybe should be tightened before it turns into be a bigger problem. And last but not least, you can look at these sides. There's the I'm trying to get the bottom of this air conditioning unit. So essentially these lines right here, that's your air conditioning lines. Now they come up right inside the cab and they come down, and they're going through the whole entire system of your coolants and air conditioners. Now the air conditioner gets charged, and then all of a sudden the air escapes. Well, you will never see the gas escape, but the gas carries an oil, and there would be an oily residue right here on the outsides of these. Now these oily residues, if you caught them earlier, then you know they're leaking, and we can replace this during, you know, the off season, before the great day of you actually coming and you need air conditioning. It doesn't work. So these two lines right here, air conditioning. The other two lines right there, that's your coolants, which is that, which actually supplies, as you can see, it keeps going to the rear, and it comes in, and in here we have a tower on the inside, which is your heater and air conditioning. Essentially it's the same system. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Something very easy, something that could be done on a beautiful day like this, and then you don't have to worry about it for a while. So next time you do check it, you do know what it was before.